All right, so we're doing soft splint ankle. So a soft splint is normally applied at the end of a limb. So like if you damage your wrist, damage your ankle, soft splint would really also be a sling. But today I'm going to show you how to improvise a soft splint for an ankle. So the first thing I want to do is check for circulation. So I check for circulation to make sure that there is circulation before I apply the splint, because I need to know, did the splint cut off circulation, or did she even have circulation before I began? Now she's already got a shoe on, especially if they have a high top or a hiking boot. I'm not going to remove that because that is a compressive bandage that also provides some support. Hers doesn't really provide a lot for the ankle, so we could remove it if we wanted to, but ideally we just leave it on. Use it like a compressive bandage. So I've checked for circulation. The next thing I want to do is go underneath the ankle near the Achilles tendon and slide these bandages in place. I'm only using 2 today, but you would use a lot more than this to secure the soft support that you're going to put around. Now this could be a jacket, could be a sleeping bag if you were out camping. Could be any of those. Something soft that is form-fitting that I can use like a boot. So I'm going to lay these out. I'm going to roll these up. Obviously, if it was a blanket, it would be a lot more bulky. And I'm going to make a U out of it. And I'm going to place that around her foot, and I'm going to pinch that with my knees. So now that frees up my hands. I'm going to tie the top one off first. Now, when you tie off a splint, any splint, rigid splint or soft splint, tie the knot against the splint itself, not against their skin. And you want to make it fairly tight. Since this is soft, I need it to make this form-fitting, like the boots that you would get at the doctor's office if you had an ankle injury. I want it to form around it and support it. So you're only applying splints if you're going to move the victim. So if you're in a location, let's say you're on a college campus, somebody has an injury like this, you just call the EMTs if they need to be moved, because they have commercial splints. But if you're going to have to move the victim, let's say we're out camping or hiking, and care cannot get to her, that's when we use splints to make sure that the limb doesn't move around, so it provides support and it prevents further injury and reduces pain. So now I've got the splint. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. You would want more places tied on here. You never want to tie right above the injury site. So you want to go above and below, especially if it's a fracture, because then we can cause that fracture to break and become an open fracture. We don't want to put any pressure on it. So we want to go above and below the injury site. And then I recheck for circulation, because I want to see, did the splint cut off circulation? Because I checked it before I did anything, and she had circulation. So I know if I get down here and I check for circulation, she doesn't have it, then I know it's the splint causing it. So a question you may have is, how do you check for circulation? Well, I can't get to the pulse here. Now I could have used, there's 2 different ones that I could have used here, posterior tibialis and dorsalis pedis on top of the foot. Only 20% of the population has, or you can feel the pulse on top of the foot. But since I have this on, I'll use more of a common sense approach. Circulation, sensation, and movement. Like, can you feel that? And she's like, yes, I can feel it. Can you wiggle your toes? She can wiggle her toes. So I'm using more of a common sense approach because I can't get to the pulse that would have been affected by this injury. And obviously the pulse could tell me if she had circulation too, but I could have checked that one before I even applied the splint. So this is only used if you're going to move the victim. If care can get to her, I'm not applying the splint. Let the EMTs, let the professionals do it. But if I need to move her because care can't get to her, let's say we're at an Enchanted Rock, it's going to take us half a day to hike out, then I'm going to have to splint the injury and carry her out.